Hey guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Today I'm going to speak to you about two states, empathy and sympathy, and what the differences are, right? And I also want to speak in terms of how the different attachment style will relate to these two different states. So, empathy is basically the ability to stand in someone else's shoes and to actually feel what they're feeling, care about them, right? Whereas sympathy is really you may have had the experience of whatever situation the person is in, but you're not going to get involved. You stand outside and you may say things like, you know, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Maybe you should try, maybe you should try this, or I know somebody else who's been through it, or things like that. They're not able to really stand in that place with that person and be there for them. They may know it at a head level, but they're not going to dip into there with you, into that sore with you of the pain that you're in. Whereas somebody who is empathizing with you will know that pain maybe from some prior experience, but they're also able to actually care about you and to sit with you. So, somebody who's empathetic also has the ability to listen to another person's perspective, their truth without judging them, right? They can understand that that's their truth, and my truth is different. That's your truth. I don't have to agree with it, but I understand it. So that's somebody who is empathetic, right? Somebody who is empathetic will also be able to recognize the emotional state of the other person's and feel it and also feed it back to them. So for example, somebody who displays empathy will say, I see you're feeling angry, or I see you're feeling upset or sad or depressed or whatever, or disappointed, whatever it may be. So that person, it allows the person hearing that to feel seen and understood, because they can see that this other person sees what they're going through, right? Whereas somebody who is going to offer sympathy will, probably say, I see, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? So they're trying to fix the problem versus stay in the problem with you. The difficulty with empathy for a lot of people who are the dismissive avoidance and also the fearful avoidant to some point. And remember, guys, that these different attachment styles always on a spectrum, right? It goes along a spectrum, right? So therefore, you have maybe the lower level ones who can still kind of empathize to. I'm getting tongue twisted here this morning. Somebody who's has a little bit of, for example, the fearful avoidant, and they have the anxious preoccupied side of them as well. They may be able to empathize as well, but not so the dismissive avoidant. The dismissive avoidant individual cannot, just don't have that ability to empathize with somebody else, because they cannot they cannot allow themselves to be vulnerable, because if they allow themselves to be vulnerable, they feel that somebody is going to hurt them, and this is something that they learned from their childhood, right? And perhaps also subsequent romantic relationships. So they cannot allow themselves to be vulnerable. So they are not good at all with empathizing. You could sit there and cry, and they would not understand that, even though they may cry sometimes, even though they're not apt to cry in public, because they also have a big ego, and crying for them signals weakness versus just expressing emotion. They were told when they were younger, and they were probably told by their parents or their peers, or teased by their peers if they cried. So now they hold everything in. And it does not mean, guys, it doesn't mean that they don't feel it, they just don't express it. They just don't express it. They just don't know how to. They've learned that they shouldn't, and so at this point in their lives, especially depending on how old and how long they've been doing this, that is cemented into their psyche, and they just cannot express it. They know at some level that they should, that that this is how they should respond, but they cannot go into that depth of that emotional dense place where that requires you to be vulnerable. All right, so that empathy is definitely a challenge, big challenge for individuals who are from that attachment style, the dismissive avoidant attachment style. Now, the fearful avoidant and the anxious preoccupied can empathize, especially guys, the fearful avoidant, because a lot of times the fearful avoidant individual attachment style, that individual was parentified, and or they may have been in households or environments that allowed, that they had to be able, there was violence in there somehow. There may have been some quarrels, there may be abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, and so they had to be very, very in tune with other people's state, right? And so they had to be very in tune with other people's states, so they could tell when danger is coming, kind of thing. And so they would try to either go somewhere else or do something to kind of alleviate that danger, right? So the fearful avoidant is definitely very good at being empathetic. They can feel somebody else's pain. A lot of times too, maybe if the mother was being abused, they would also turn to the child for solace and for them to, so they would hug them and cry on them and stuff like that. And so the child they can feel the pain of others. All right. So let's see, there's another thing that, the thing about sympathy is that it really kind of comes off more as pity. You're pitying the person, and what this does, guys, is that it really further strengthens the depression and the place, the low place that person is in, right? When somebody pities someone, they're sympathizing is more like a pity thing. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. This bad things always seem to happen to you, and so this person now, basically, they're feeling so in such a low place at that time that they just hold on to these feelings of, oh, woe is me, I'm so unlucky, I'm so this, and it further just leads them further and deeper into this kind of a depressed and state of grief and sadness, right? And so sympathy is not something that allows people to be able to go on and move on, whereas empathy, you're going to be reflecting back what their state is. I see that you're very unhappy, so you're causing them to feel that somebody sees that and understands that. And can I see, I don't understand, I can't say I understand how you're feeling right now, right? Because remember, guys, even if somebody is experiencing something that you have experienced before, it is never the same. Remember, there are different levels and different layers to that pain that they're going through. Maybe their pain is something, for example, that, say it's a death, but it's a death of someone that they just never got along with, but a family member, right? And so for them, it might be guilt to feel relief from that, because they were abused by this family member all the time, right? So that might be a guilt that they're feeling, to feel of their feeling of relief that this person is gone. Whereas somebody else who may have lost somebody else, may have been their life partner for years and years and years, and now they've lost them, right? So a lot of times you can't really feel the exact pain that the person is in, but the willingness to understand where they're at. I can see that you're feeling sad. I can see that you're feeling depressed. I can see that you're feeling upset. Allows the person to feel understood, right, and heard, right, and seen for what they're going through, and then they can understand it and be able to heal from it, right? And especially when you are there to sit with them, because you could say to them, I can see that you're feeling depressed. There's no way I can understand what you're going through right now, but I will be here if you need me. How can I help? So that's empathy, guys. Whereas sympathy is going to say, you're you're so unlucky. I'm so sorry that you're going through all of this. Everything bad seems to happen to you, right? But they never ever sit with you, right? It just kind of deepens that depressed state that you're in. So basically, guys, the real difference between these two states is that empathy is allowing the person to feel seen, heard, and understood. It also helps them to be able to get over that situation better, because it gives them a kind of a strength to know that somebody else understands them and that it is just something that they're going through. And so, and also know that somebody is there who is willing to sit with them through it and not tell them what to do, because they don't want anyone telling them what to do and how to feel at that point, right? Whereas sympathy is actually telling you, saying, well, I'm so sorry for you. It's a pity thing. It's a pity party, right? And then it just makes the other person feel worse, and they don't feel seen, heard, or understood from somebody offering pity to them. All right, guys, I hope that kind of helps and makes some kind of a sense to you. If you find something interesting in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. That helps me a lot. And also, please hit that notification bell as well, so that you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. This is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Take care, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.